About to get into a mix, and I figured I'd kind of take you guys through my mix process as I get into it. This is the very beginning stages of a mix for me, and hopefully you guys get a lot out of this. Ask questions along the way. All good. I'm just here working, so I figured I'd kind of just stream this and let you guys kind of get inside the mix, yo. All right, so first things first, I usually work off of a template. Obviously, I have to do multiple mixes per week, so I'm not trying to start every single mix from scratch. So I have my template here. This is one of two templates that I have. I have like, different templates for different genres and vibes. But you could see like vocal mix bus, drums mix bus. Typically my template, everything is bypassed so that if I open it, it's not going to open with a bunch of crazy plugins trying to load. So this is all bypassed. And the first thing I do is I import all of the stems for the track. This track is Promise Taliban. That's the name of the track. And I have the reference mix always. If anybody works with me ever, I always have to get a reference mix because I need to know what they have and if I can beat it, or if I feel like it's already good and I'm not going to take the mix on, right? So I'm definitely going to beat this mix. I'll beat the shit out of it because this doesn't sound very good, and I know I can make it sound 10 times better. But I'll play you the reference mix real quick.
Living like a movie, no fairy tale. And I don't trust these niggas, they ain't playing fair. We go do what we doing, then we out of there. Trouble is a thing that I know very well. The midnight moonlight, it's time again. Just hope that I'm forgiven for the way I sin. Pop out, I'm surrounded by some ass, man. Living like we'll live again. Bitch, we the new Taliban. Say as long as the gang's tight, I'm alright. As long as we got one, that should be sufficing. Say as long as the fit's right, I feel nice. As long as I can pipe, you can stay up night. One shot to fill up 3 more. You know how it is when I'm around. Yeah, and I got bad thoughts, so if they pop up, somebody gon' get laid the fuck down. Yeah, it's that fire moving silence. I'm smoking on straight exotic. The way that they hit my body, I'm moving while I'm unconscious. These niggas be suicidal. Stress not to play with me, cause this just might be a final. Just like a movie scene. Yo, Friday the 13th. I got some problems, but I promise that if anything, I'm A-okay.
Okay, so that's the reference. And right away for me, I think everything sounds pretty mono. So I'm going to make it a lot more stereo, a lot more vibey, a lot more wavy. The vocals sound just like very saturated, like to the point where they're like distorted and they don't sound good. So I'm definitely going to make sure that that shit shines way more than this mix because I wouldn't be happy with this mix either. One thing I want to say about that, a lot of you guys out there that are spending $150, $200 to have someone mix your records, like, you guys are throwing money away. Like, the poor man pays twice or 3 times. You feel me? Don't go to the budget guy. Go to the guy that mixes records for a living. That's me. Or someone like me, maybe we don't vibe. That's fine. But I'm just saying, like, you have to make sure that you're not spending $150 for a mix, $200 for a mix. Like, these guys, they don't mix records. They preset, pop out your shit. Sounds like garbage. Then you have to redo it. So, yeah, don't go with the budget shit. It's never going to get you what you want, especially if you want records that are assets over time. Yeah, we're gonna get this thing going, man. You know it. You know what's up. You always know. So, yeah, super, super saturated. Like, there's no reason for it to be so saturated. It's a preset mix, I can already tell. All right, so the first thing I always do when I build a mix is I'm going to start with the drums, right? In this instance, I might actually start with the vocals, but I have all the stems in here, so I'm just going to start to balance things a little bit and get things kind of balanced to where I like it. And I'm also going to right away get rid of all this stuff in my template that I don't need, right? So for example, like low stacks, double punch center, double left, right, all this stuff. I don't need any of these tracks. Hot pink is usually how I keep my vocals. So I'm just going to hide and make inactive on those. Yeah, it's a cool track, man. I think it definitely has potential. And the guy, like the rapper has a dope vibe on him, man. Like I think his timbre and like the way, like his sound is cool. It's really cool. So I'm going to try to make this like really star power. You know what I mean? Like that's my job. That's what I get hired for. It's like, yo, make me sound dope. And another thing you'll notice, the stems did not come in right. Like you could see I had to move every stem around. One thing I want you guys to know, if you're ever stemming out a session for a mixing engineer, you need to stem from bar 1, beat 1 to the end of the session. Like don't give me the verse and the verse over here and the hook over here and the bridge over there. Like that shit is crazy. Like that took me 30 minutes just to get everything in place. Like it's not, you know, not cool. All right, so let's take this stuff, hide and make inactive, find all the stuff we may not use. Rap verse effects, like I'm not going to use that, bro. I mean, you know, a lot of this stuff is just part of my template, but I want to clean up. Like it's really important that you get your template really clean so that you're not, you know, working with stuff like cluttering your mix. Really, really important to get all this shit out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to do all this. I'm going to get rid of all these. I have reverse. I have a choir, Vox bus. I won't need any of this, you know. So I'm going to go hide and make inactive. And this is, again, just all from my template. Bridge Vox bus, effects wide. I might use that effects wide. That's kind of cool. That's like a send. And I'm not going to use this. This is like a vocal synth. But you can see, like, I have all this stuff in my template because they're all from, like, you know, hundreds of mixes that I've done. Okay, so Vox intro rap, I'm going to use that, and I might use this this hook vocal, right? Vocal hook, I'm just going to call it. Okay, so this is a big part of getting my mix started is I want to get everything aligned, and I want to make sure that I get rid of anything that I'm not going to be using. Okay, so same thing here. I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. Vocal verb, I'll definitely keep that. So hide and make inactive, all this stuff I'm not using. This vocal verb, altiverb, pro Q3, I'm going to keep that. Spanish intro, don't need that. Hide and make inactive. This stuff, H delay, all this stuff. You can see in blue, like sky blue, I have my effects buses. Another rap verb, I got fattening, I got delay throw, delay 2, and I got a vocal verb. So I got 2 different verbs. I'm going to put these verbs together. So a vintage Valhalla and a altiverb. And I'll show you all that stuff, guys, as I go. There's another reverb here as well. Or reverb 2. You know, so this has Valhalla space modulation and Pro Q3 feeding into a vintage verb. So these are all different reverb vibes that I like, and I'm going to keep those all here. Now all this stuff I'm going to hide and make inactive, reverse bells, hide and make inactive, and make sure drum verb, I'll need that, perk 3, hide and make inactive. So I'm just going to find that I just want to see all my stems in the session. I don't want to see a bunch of other stuff. Sidechain kill, like I definitely don't want to have that doing anything, because when it's usually a sidechain kill, it's a bus that should be dead. I'm using it for a sidechain, right? So hide and make inactive for sure. Filter drums, Rev 808. I might actually use this 808. I have like 2 808, 3 808 stuff, chains. I'm going to go through them. So this one's a cut. This one's going to be so I can get the 808 to cut through on small speakers. I'll show you all that stuff. Valhalla vintage verb is well worth it, my friend. I would absolutely have Valhalla in my arsenal. I don't know what I would do without it, to be honest. Like, that is modern rap music, modern trap, modern R&B. Like, it is Valhalla. You're going to hear it on everything. All right, so I got a rim high, a rim body. I might use those. That might be like a snare drum vibe. And then you can see a lot of these tracks, like, see how low they are in volume? I might gain these up a little bit just so I can see the waveform, and also so I can, you know, get my my gain structure going. Like, I can see that open hat's kind of pan to the right. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. I'm just going to go 100% out on these hats before, and open hats here. Let's pan those back out. And just make sure everything's looking good. Like hats, I think these can be gained up a little bit. All right. Hats are really important in trap music, of course. 808, I'll keep that. And these 808s and this 808, I'm going to actually bring this guy down here. This is a huge part of mixing, guys. Organizing. Make sure your template's all locked in. Rim body, rim high. I might actually keep the rim body out here just because I might use it as a snare track. But I'm going to hide this one. I'm going to make it inactive. And audio 1, audio 2, like these don't need to be anywhere. I'm just going to delete these guys. So delete, nothing there for you. And then we got a kick drum, we got a kick parallel, we got a kick bus. The kick bus, nothing's going to the kick bus, so I'm going to delete that, right? I'm just going right directly to my drum mix. Sometimes I do kick bus, sometimes I don't do a kick bus. Okay, effects mix bus, instrument mix bus, drum mix master bus, going to Vox mix bus, all Vox, all instruments, all drums. So everything's being routed, and then everything's coming to the master augs. And then here's the master. And the master, I'm going to have my Sonar Works, which is tuning to my speakers in my room. And I do about 60% wet. Rocking the Amphion 218s. They sound great, and they're really great in the mid-range. But they, in this room, because the ceilings are kind of low, they get a little boxy and a little punchy in the 150. So I have the Sonar Works doing a little work here, right? And that's okay. I'm not going to turn that on yet, though. I don't turn that on until later in my mix. And then I got a standard clip on here, SBL Hawkeye. The Hawkeye here is going to give me all my information I need to visually represent. LUFs, my correlation, out of phase stuff, RMS, all that good stuff. And this is really cool. This spectrogram is really dope. So do you do mix critiques? Yeah, I do every Saturday night. I try to do it on Saturday, but I do song reviews on the channel. So definitely join in on that. All right, so I got the reference I'm trying to beat. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing in these drums, okay? One thing I don't like to work with is stereo kick drums. I had to replace this kick drum, by the way. So what I'm going to do here with this stereo kick drum is I'm just going to go out the mono, just regular output, right? So right to the master here, monitor left, right, okay? And I'm going to solo this, and I'm just going to bounce this out and sum to mono, okay? The way you do that is you go to the bounce, and I'm just going to say kick mono, because I want to sum this to mono. I don't want a stereo kick. Just my preference, you know, you can do whatever you want to do with your kick drum. So I'm going to do here, I'm going to go mono summed, not the MP3, out left, right, make sure it's a wave, import after bounce, great, 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 offline, cool, bounce. So this is going to bounce this, and it's going to sum the left and the right to a mono track. Okay, bam. Now I got a mono kick. This is what I'd rather work with than a stereo kick. Just preference, right? Now I can also grab these plugins off of the stereo bus and make sure that I'm just copying those off. And then now I'm going to go back through my drum mix bus with this mono kick, and I'm going to mute the regular stereo kick that it came with. I don't like stereo kicks. Hide and make inactive. Did I make it clear that I don't like stereo kicks? All right, and then make sure that I color my shit, right? Like, because I want this to be organized. I want it to be back to that color. All right, so let's get the kick drum going. That's the first thing I want to rock into the drum mix bus. And then we're going to use then we're going to get the snare going and the hi-hats, claps, all that stuff. I think this clap is going to be really my snare, these claps here. So I'll bring all this stuff up here. I like my snare above my kick. It just makes sense. I'm a drummer, so it's just how I think. All right, and then I'm going to start getting this kick drum going. And I'm going to pay attention to my Hawkeye here, the SBL Hawkeye, and I'm going to make sure that I'm hitting maybe, you know, -6, -8, give myself some headroom here. You don't need to use this. You could also just use the fader here on the master bus. But yeah, I think I like mono kicks, bro. I think so. All right, so first thing I do is I don't start soloing things. What I actually want to do to start is I like to take all the tracks that I'm not using, and I like to mute those tracks. So I unmute as I go, and I just find that that's like way easier than trying to solo and then solo and then solo. You'll see what I'm saying. So I'm going to take all of these tracks that I'm not using, and I'm holding down Option Shift, and I'm muting those. So that's do to selected. So I'm only going to hear the kick, and then I can unmute the next thing, the clap. Then I can unmute the next thing. And it's just kind of part of my process. You guys can follow along with that or not. It's all up to you, you know? So let's go here, mute all those. Reverb, we're good, we're good, we're good. Ad-libs here, these are vocals. Make sure these are hot pink. You know, I'm just doing all the cleanup, all the boring shit. Hot pink. Another thing, vocals, I might bounce those down to mono as well, some of them. But I haven't got there yet. I'm also going to delete this click track. I was just using it to get the tempo of the track. And then I got other vocals here. I have to make sure all these vocals are colored right so that when I see them with my eyes, right away I know those are vocals. All right. So bridge, vocal, bus, all that stuff. We're going to take all of these tracks that are vocals and anything else, and we're going to just select all of them, holding down Shift, and then muting them. Okay. All right, so who we got in here? I don't know who we got in here. It's Sunday, you know, daylight savings. It's a weird time, but I just figured I'd live stream the mix process, show you guys a little setup action. I'm just getting into this one, so this may not be the most exciting live stream, but hopefully you guys get something out of it. And ask your questions. You know, I'm here to answer your questions, you guys. So if you have any questions at all, just pop them in the chat. I'll make my picture a little smaller so you guys can see the Pro Tools. All right, so I'm gonna mute my microphone. We're gonna get this kick drum going. Okay, so the kick drum, just giving it a little headroom and stuff. I'm going to turn on the R comp, the Pro Q3. We're going to see what these guys are doing. I may not need the R comp, but I just want it to be a little bit more controlled and smack a little bit more. And then this is rolling out everything in 18. Let's check this out. Okay, so the R comp, I'm going to back off of it, and I'm just going to catch overs because I'm hitting a little yellow there. Okay, so right away for me, I'm like, I don't even need the R comp, right? It's not doing anything. It's not helping. I'm going to turn on the kick parallel here. I always send 100% to the kick parallel, and then we're going to activate all this stuff on the kick parallel. I'm just holding down Control, Command, and clicking, okay? API 2500 by UAD. I want this to smack pretty good, but I'm going to go to medium here. Okay, well, let's check this out. EQ P1A is probably going to bring a little bit more, yeah, a little more girth at the bottom. And then nothing at the top. Not for now. Let's check that out. Okay, so that kick parallel is really making it much more punchy, right? It's like just adding a lot more punch. So now that I have my kick just like where I think it's good, right there, I'm going to turn on all this drum mix and drum master bus, all right? Now this is going to give me some sauce, okay? I'm not going to explain all of this to you guys, but for now, I'm just trying to get this kick drum to knock really, really fucking hard. Yeah, 100%. Piercy Blue, you nailed it. So Jason Joshua actually got this this chain right here for the NLS buses from somebody else. That's not a Jason Joshua thing. But yes, that's where I got it from, 100%. Okay, so this right here is just like shaping all the drums. So right now you're only hearing the kick. You're like, oh yeah, that's crazy. You're compressing the fuck out of it, right? It's like, yeah, but you won't get it until you get all the drums in. All right, so our bass giving me a little more sub stuff, more punch. I want to make sure this is not compressing too hard. Now it's cool because it kind of gives me the back of the kick drum, which is really interesting when you put all this stuff together. It starts to sound really cool. I'm going to go back off this a little bit, and this tilt here, I'm going to back off that a little bit, and I'm going to bring that back up. Okay, cool. There we go. Now that's good for now. Black box design, I got to set this because sometimes this will be too much or too little. All right, there you go. I'm giving you guys play-by-play. You guys better be loving this shit. Share this shit, you know? Like, damn, giving you guys the game. All right, so you can see the master bus. We're probably hitting it a little too hard, and we're going to check it right here with this fader and just see where we're at. Yeah, so that for me is fine. Like, it is really like hovering around -10 or so, but you're just getting some peaks up there at like -2, 4, etc. But that's just because of the transients and shit. So let's check the SPL. This will give us a better insight. All right, there you have it. So let's start to tuck back the kick drum just a little bit more. And now because I've gone through a drum mix and a drum master bus, I want to start using my gain to hit my master bus. I want to start using this drum master because I don't want to change the tonality going into these buses. So hopefully that makes sense. If you start to change it right here on the kick, for example, you're going to be driving more into those. This is where we get into gain staging. I like the tonality of the kick drum. I think it sounds good. I might bring in just a little more punch with the kick parallel. But overall, I'm not going to change these because they're both going to the drum mix bus. So the way that that's driving through the drum mix to the drum master, if I start to change the drum mix at all, it's going to affect the drum master. If I change, you know, this is all in gain staging. So right now what I want to do is I want to take from the drum master bus and I can just pull back on, for example, here, the output gain here, right? And that's why I have these as well. I'm spreading this a little bit stereo for the drums. And then I can also shape here as well. So I'm taking this down. I'm going to actually bypass this because, again, this is part of a template. I'm going to bypass that. I'm going to bypass that. I only use this once I bring all the drums in and I need to shape the drums a little bit more, right? Like, I'm not just like mixing blind. I don't want you guys to think I just like pop on shit and I'm like, that's it. It's good. Ship it. Nah, man, like mixing is modular. You're going to do something, then you're going to go back on that something. All right. But for now, that's where I'm going to leave this shit. I'm going to go, bam, that kick is good. We're good there. All right. Let's bring in this clap. All right. So we got a clap. We got two claps, but let's start with this clap here. Clap is kind of whack. I don't know, but it's fast at least. I just want to send it maybe to a little bit of drum verb. So I have my drum verb down here and I'm going to turn that on. Valhalla Room. Valhalla Room's incredible. I love it. We might mess around with some of this stuff, but I think this will be a good look. And that goes to the all drum bus. So we're not going through all that stuff with the drum verb, okay? And let's check that out with a little verb. Okay, so I don't like really a lot of high end in my drum reverbs because remember you got vocals, you know, and vocals are way more important than a clap reverb. You feel me? So if you start filling up your reverbs with clap reverb and hi-hat reverb, and it's like you put those vocals in and you're like, why don't my vocals sound good? It's like, well, because you fucking took up all the high end with like drum reverb. You know, so there is a process to this stuff, and you got to kind of like see the vision in your head. You got to see the final product, like have some vision for it. The clap could definitely use some R comp. I'm going to just comp it a little bit down so that it just sounds cooler. And the R comp adds a little saturation as well. Yeah, I want to hear a little more of that like 150 kind of area in this kick drum. And I might back off this again when I start getting the mix going with the 808. That sounded pretty good. I'm taking the top off a little bit here because I really don't like the top on this clap. I think it sounds kind of cheesy. I can also use, like a lot of the times I'll use lo-fi. I love this plugin. I think it's super dope for this exact specific thing. Like for example, if I don't want to roll the top off with an EQ and I just want to lo-fi it, I think that can be a better look sometimes. Like I'll saturate it just like a 0.1, 0.2, something like that. And I might do a little distortion on it, but check this out. So that's kind of a cool way to kind of soften out a clap, soften out anything really. Just use like a 0.1 on the saturation on the lo-fi. So that's kind of a little cheat code there. Like I said, like you don't want the clap like taking up all this high end. It's, believe me, like you think like, oh, why'd you ruin the clap? It's like, no, man, we're mixing. We're not clap sound designing. All right. Okay, so clap 2 here. Let's bring up this gain here so we have some gain hitting this stuff. This is going to drum mix. We got some drum verb as well here. This might be a little much. So let's bring that down. You could also like copy this shit down, but I'm just going to check it out, see what it sounds like. Okay, I know it's boring, but those are the drums. That's what I got for now. I don't need to do much else with that. Now let's bring in the hats here. So right away, just so you guys know my thinking when I pop something in, I'm always thinking about the vocals, right? That right there, that hi-hat is right in the vocal range. It's like literally on top of it. It's right in the middle. It's kind of a little off center. It's like to the right a little bit in my speakers. And, you can double check that by looking at the waveforms. But I think what I'm getting here is I'm getting a little bit of right hang, which is fine. It's all good, but it's going to be clobbering the vocal range. I really don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'll turn on my lo-fi and my Pro Q3 and see what that's doing. And you can see like the Pro Q3 is taking everything out. But I'm going to undo all that and probably only bring it up to about like 500 or so. And let's check this out. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do on this, I don't need the lo-fi on the hats. I don't think that that's helping much. So I'll get rid of that. And I'm going to put a Valhalla space modulator on this. And just try to get the hi-hats to move out of the center a little bit. Without using panning, I just want to move them out of the center. Okay, so that's a little bit more out of the center. Like in my speakers, it's like up here now. Like the hi-hats are kind of over here a little bit more, right? Which is nice. I like that. I also want to check and make sure that I'm not like saturating the shit out of the hi-hats. So a good way to do that is just quickly go to monitor left, right, and take it out, monitor left, right real quick just to see what it's doing. Now we're going to get some time, phase, alignment, timing stuff. It's not going to sound good, but I just listening to the timbre of the hi-hat. Cool, that sounds good to me. I can make these a little crispier if I want to. I don't really want to yet because, again, I want to make sure that my vocals are going to be okay. Let's pop the open hats in. So that's terrible. I hate that. So let's make sure that those are like really only doing what they need to do. Which is, get rid of all this this mid-range stuff is basically how I think, because the like this is gonna sound like shit when a vocal comes in and you're like, dude, the hell is that? Also, the volume is like really loud on it. Okay, cool. That reverb does wonders on that. And let's go, and now that we got just like the bare bones here, I don't think there's much else. Like, let's see, another open hat here. Let's check that guy out. Okay, so it's like a stereo bounce back and forth type vibe. All right, that's lame, but whatever. You know, when you're making beats, you got to make something like interesting, I guess. So if it's going to be back and forth like that, left and right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pan these off a little bit and make sure they're not super wide, because you want to save like the width and the depth and all that stuff for like vocal reverbs and other things that are going to be in that stereo space. You don't want, oh, the hi-hats, listen how wide they are. Like, this is stupid. Like, save the room, the important room, for the important things. You know, that's the best way I could put it. All right, so 84, 84, let's go like that. 10.7, let's go bam, put it at 10.7 or somewhere around there. All good. Okay, and then make sure your follow main pan is on your actual reverb send, so that the drum reverb is getting the same send. Just helps with the return as well, so it sounds like it's more from the left or more from the right. You're going to get more dimension, more width doing that. Follow main pan. Okay, those are fine. I think maybe they're even just like a little too loud, right? So I'm going to say open hat left, and then tab, or sorry, not tab. I'm thinking in Logic Pro terms. Shift command left. I don't know. Let's see here. Just trying to use key commands like an idiot. All right, dash R, bam. Okay, so open hats right and left. Done. Okay, and then let's see. I think that's all the drums. It's like not much in here. Okay, there's like a little perk thing in here. I want to bring that in for sure, because perks sometimes like will give that bounce. Yeah, we have effect sweep, fill. This looks like it may be something. Crash, cymbals, shit like that. Let's see here. Jack that up a little bit. Just see what everything's doing. Cool, cool. These aren't that important. These look like they're like little different filler things. Shaker though. Let's definitely bring the shaker in. So I look for like the things that are taking up the most space and time, right? Like this is part of the rhythm section, the shaker. So let's definitely pop this guy in and see what it's doing. And we will take that reverb down for sure. Let's hear it. No compression necessary for that shaker. We do want to keep it kind of held back a little bit. I think putting the shaker in a room would actually be really dope, but for now it's fine. I think maybe it's taking up a little too much space in the mid-range, which we can kind of mess around with on a little bit of a mid-side EQ. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, so all I'm doing here, get rid of the bullshit, because we don't want that affecting the kick drum or anything else in the low end. And then I'm ducking out the middle, just doing a little bit of mid-side EQ, 3 dBs, not much, but 1400. That's where I'm going to put the vocal, you know? I don't want anything taking up that middle besides what I want in that middle. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what I'm doing there. So clear up the middle, clear up the middle, clear up the middle. I'm always clearing up the middle. And, you know, I think about like the very low end, the very top end, and the middle. Those are like sacred grounds. You know what I'm saying? So we need to clear that. That shit needs to be super important. I'm not trying to put just anything in those ranges. Like, I need to make room. All right, let's pop this 808 in. Let's go jack up the gain a little bit here and here. And let's definitely turn this on right away. Got an Ibanez 808 Screamer. You can use any distortion for this. And then I'm bringing in this guy here, which is just kind of showing the mid-range here. You can also compress the crap out of this if you want to. But all this is just the 808 cut. And for the 808, I got a limiter, I got a Pro Q3, I got a BX Digital, I got an MC4. I don't need all this, right? Like, I'm just trying to, I'll start with like the limiter, Pro Q3. These are typical settings for me for an 808. If you guys want to copy these, go for it. So this is going to be a little mono maker, and I'll actually go like lower with this. So the sub, like really low frequency is going to be popped in the middle and stay in the middle. And then limiter on an 808 is pretty typical for me because I want to catch any overs here. I like to limit on 808s more than I like to compress on 808s. All right, let's check it out. Okay, to me, what's happening here is some weird shit. Like, this 808 is like clipping out my shit. I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff. Let's put the limiter after everything and just see if that's... It can't be this guy. There's no way. It's got some weird shit going on. Uh-oh, waking the kids up. That's what's up. That means it's a good 808. It means it's flopping. It's flopping and popping. All right, so you see what I did there? I'm just messing with the gain stage. I took the gain back down to just plus 0.9, not even a dB. And that really helped. And now I'm going to pop my limiter back at the front here. Okay, I'm just ducking out a little bit of that because if I look at the 808 is hitting with the kick, okay? So the kick and the 808 are going at the same time. There's not a time where the 808's going by itself. And if there is, I'll automate it differently. But for now, I want the 808 and the kick to work together perfectly. So that's what I'm trying to do. All right, so now let's go mono maker and make this even lower. I think like 44. And then sweep this guy up to 21. I want a little more girth out of this guy. I mean like sub girth because it's an 808. So let's turn on the max bass, see what this can do here. not helping, so we'll leave it off. And then let's try the BX sub bass, sub synth. I like the sub synth sometimes it just doesn't make sense, but let's give it a shot. Okay, so what we really got to make sure of is that this 808 and this kick is really rocking together. Like, it's got to just really work together. So I'm going to just kind of duck some stuff, get rid of some high end there. You know, just working this shit. Let me see what this 808. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll bring this kick and 808 together, and then I might even use some sidechain compression kind of stuff here. I don't know if I'll do that yet, but because these are kind of floppy kicks, 808s together. But I might mess around with like some transient design, kill the transient, all that good stuff. Jared, it is through Ecamm Live. That's what I'm using. You could also use OBS software. But yeah, you just go, see you got Playback Engine, and then you just take it out the Ecamm Live audio app. You can do the same thing with OBS. All these screen capture software, streaming softwares have, they have output audio drivers. Okay, so the kick drum right now, I didn't like the compression at first, but now I think the compression is going to help me just kind of make this pop out a little bit better. And it's going to be very, very light compression at a high ratio. So check this out. Okay, never mind. I don't like that. So big part of mixing, man. Like, you got to kind of check stuff, try it out. I'm going to actually use the Native Instruments vibe here. Let me see. Transient Master. I think this is a pretty cool one. Give it a little more attack. And I'm going to make the kick drum just a little bit shorter too with the sustained. It's going to be very, very small amount, but it can do wonders. Okay, so the BX sub synth, what it's doing is it's taking this 808 that's like really punchy up where the kick is punchy as well, and it's sort of like making it go lower. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm using this for. It is changing the color of the 808, but I really like it because it's not everything needs to be punchy. Okay, so if I bypass this in and out, pay attention to how the 808 is like up here. Like even in your speakers, like it should sound like it came up when the BX digital sub-synth is off. But when it's on, it kind of puts the sub, like the bass, the 808 back down, right? So just listen for that. I'm gonna pop it out. Think about the 808 and how punchy it is and how mid-range heavy it is. So that's what we want to do with anything like subby. We want to move it down. You know, we want it to feel like it's on the floor a little bit more, right? So same thing here. I might even like sweep out a little more there. And this I think is like, you know, we can be a little bit more, little less with that. And then I'm going to go down even further with 30, bring that up to 15. You know, I'm always trying to save the voltage and stuff, make sure I hit right. Okay, so that's sounding good for now. Let's pop in this cut, right? And see what this is doing. So for this, I almost feel like I need to spread this a little more stereo. And that's really simple. I'll just use something very basic for this. Just use the center plugin from Waves. And we're going to tuck the center, and we're going to spread the highs into and the punch into the sides. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to keep that 808 very nice, good. Subwoofer approved. Okay, I'm going to try one more trick here because this 808's not really stereo enough for me. And that's okay. Like, I'm not really trying to make it super stereo, but I'm going to give it a doubler from Waves. Just very simple doubler. Stereo doubler, and just give me just a regular ass doubler. Let's go. Doubler here. And then this is just going to spread it a little bit more to the side. All right, so basically what I'm trying to do is move everything down, right? And then the kick drum, I want to move it up a little bit, so it's like in the center. I don't want it to punch a little bit harder, so I'm going to turn up the parallel just a little bit, and I'm actually going to go to the kick drum, and I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm getting more of the parallel, less of the direct signal of the kick drum, and the parallel is just going to be a little bit more punchy, right? So we got more punch. We can get rid of this. I don't even think I need this stuff. This is probably just from the mix template. All right, and then we'll move this up a little bit because we want that punch. We don't need any of that sub in the parallel kick. Let's check this out. So that's about the foundation of the track right there. From here, I bring in the vocals. But that, my friends, is for another live stream. and maybe I'll live stream tomorrow with you guys and do that. But yeah, hopefully you guys like this. This is like getting the drums, the guitars going. Now it's all about popping these vocals in and starting to get them to sit exactly where I want. And then I'll go in and I'll start to put everything else around the vocals and build the whole track out around the drums, vocal, and that lead main guitar thing. So that's really the vibe. That's how I build a mix. That's how I start it. And I'll do another stream and we can get deeper into the mix. All right. You guys have a good night. Happy Sunday. Peace. Share the video if it helped you. Appreciate y'all.